Welcome to week 1 of the Environmental Science 101 lab. This PowerPoint will give you an introduction to the course. Even though the course is fully online, there are essentially lecture and lab sections. The basic structure of this is similar to the traditional course, where in the lecture there's material and activities, and in the lab or field section there's activities that address science in a more hands-on manner. There's a lab session every week, which is tied to the content of the lecture, builds tools you need to do the assignments in the lab and fieldwork, and follows the same general approach to environmental science that we've been describing in the textbook and in the lecture section. There are also field workshops which take you out to collect data for yourself and provide another example of the entire cycle of defining a problem all the way through to looking for solutions and evaluating how much knowledge you've contributed. So the focus of the lab is going to be on the value of natural ecosystems, and this will be described in a PowerPoint that you'll look through in the lab section. But the idea is that healthy ecosystems are important. They provide not only internal functions but services for humans, such as clean water and cleaning the air and temperature regulation. So we want to help protect and restore natural ecosystems. And there's a range of types of these ecosystems, and there's also sometimes we have to repair the function in order to provide these services. A good example of this is watershed restoration, where the water comes off the watershed and is useful for human. A more ecologically healthy watershed will provide more water and cleaner water. Another example is gardens, that we can use natural gardens to provide food and other services. So let's just discuss a little bit about the structure of the lab and the workshops. Every week there's a lab session that will have an intro, some sort of an instructional PowerPoint or text that you work through. You're going to discuss some questions in your small group that will be members of your lab group. And then there's going to be an assignment that you send to the graduate teaching assistant, and we'll be getting feedback. And these are very important because these assignments build toward the final project. And then there'll be several questions that pertain to the lab material that'll be on the weekend quiz. And then there's also field work, where on selected weeks you work on your own, but you go out, collect data, and you compare this with your small group for a discussion with your small group to get some hints and get some insight. And then you, at the end of the term, there'll be a final report, which is the compilation and evaluation of all these weekly assignments. Okay, the fieldwork has particular requirements, and for that, please see the syllabus. But again, it goes through the same steps as described in the lecture. We're going to identify a problem, look at this with different approaches, make some observations, and create a narrative, assess the problem, the ability to problem this with different modes of engaging, and then evaluate this contribution. So the learning objectives for this week in the lab will be to be able to define an ecosystem, describe several different processes that take place in that ecosystem, and then define and give examples of ecosystem services, because that's what we're going to be focusing on. That is the value of a functioning ecosystem to humans. And then explain the benefits of having a healthy ecosystem rather than just replacing it with some machinery that meets that particular function. So in order to get started, you'll work through the slide stack on the importance of naturally functioning ecosystems, work on the assignment, which is to find a suitable location near you to do the field work. You'll discuss those choices or possible choices you have with your small group, and then send the assignment to the GTA. And remember, there'll be a few questions from the material in the lab that'll be on the end of the week quiz. Thank you, and time to get